listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
AfterBuzz TV presents Chatting with Cathy. Sit-down interviews with Hollywood's leading actors, artists, and entrepreneurs. And now, your host of Chatting with Cathy, Cathy Kelly.
Hello everyone, Vegas for doing, and we're doing another episode of Chatting with Cathy right here on AfterBuzz TV. I'm your host, Cathy Kelly, and joining me today is the group 7Lions, or half of the group, rather.
Yeah.
So we have Prophet, Forrest, and Will. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you. This is awesome.
Yeah, so you come in and you're surprised by the getup.
It is crazy.
Setup.
It feels like you're like on a submarine with multiple rooms and there's like multiple everything in here. It's crazy.
Yeah, so you guys, you formed in around 2010. And how did you guys come together? I know that you two met while doing the Von Dutch Artist in Residence.
Yeah. Back in the day, it was like it was forever ago. But actually, Will and I had been playing in a band before Prof and I had met a band called Omission way back, and
way back
that
in the
was
day.
way back in the day.
Yeah, way back in the day.
But yeah, we linked up with Prof and.
It's been happily marriage ever since.
Was
kind of
Omission
the rest
based
just
in
followed.
LA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who's from Bay Area? I know you are.
I'm from
Who else?
Santa Rosa.
Okay.
San Francisco.
I'm
about
actually
you?
from New England. So,
Okay.
And I met Forrest like literally 2 weeks after I moved to LA. Very fortunate, actually, it's turned out, through Craigslist.
Craigslist.
So
Yeah.
they call it eHarmony now, but
Yeah, you know, I was
Misconnections.
I was lonely on a Saturday night looking for casual encounters. And then
they found me on Plenty of Fish. Casual encounter.
So individually, how did you guys get your start in music?
I think for me, my dad was working with a promoter in San Francisco early on, Bill Graham, back in the days of like rock and roll concerts, and would always tell me these stories, when I was growing up. And the environment that I grew up in was really rough, so these stories always sounded like fantasy to me about him and, David Bowie or, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Grateful Dead, and all these crazy, cool music-related stories. And where we lived was such a different, sort of visual perspective from that. So I got into the boys club, and there was these kids that would huddle up in the corner and just freestyle and beatbox and sort of just do music by themselves. And where I'm from, you sell drugs, you're in a gang, or you find...
In the Bay Area?
In the Bay Area.
Really?
And Hunters Point, where I grew up, was a really bad neighborhood during, late 80s, and really crack infested, you know what I mean? And so in order to... And I was a small kid, so in order to get off the street, I hung out at the boys club, played Street Fighter 2, and played pool, and started freestyling with these guys. And that sort of freestyle evolution, along with graffiti and sort of all the core elements of hip-hop, kind of pushed me into that, and then it just kind of stuck, just became something that I couldn't live without, and started, once I got the idea to do it professionally, sort of, kept plugging away, and you start to meet people, and once your life becomes an art, you sort of gravitate towards things.
Did you move to LA to pursue music?
Yeah. Me and my boy Deep Waters moved out here. He wanted to finish up at USC and get his master's, and then we thought, we got to be in LA to really do this big. We kind of hit a ceiling in the Bay Area, because the Bay Area is the home of DIY music, like Too Short, E40, Mac Dre, Pop the Trunk. You got T-shirts, you got CDs, self-produced. Everything was kind of like how it is now, per se, but like more so before anybody else was printing up their own stuff. We were doing that back in the day, but we didn't really have any major label support or anything. So we sort of hit a wall, sold thousands of CDs out the trunk, and we're like, yo, we need to show the majors like what's going on and sort of partner up.
That's kind of how the industry has evolved, what it's evolved into, is you have to be very self-produced, so that kind of helped you get your start.
Exactly. No, yeah, definitely. The Bay Area schooled me in DIY for sure.
What about you, Forrest?
Well, in the same aspect, my mom schooled me in music. She used to play bass, and she would travel around.
Guitar or the stand-up bass?
Bass guitar.
Really?
Guitar, yeah.
I played bass guitar in high school.
Sing. Yeah, and so she'd leave me at the daycare, and she'd go out at night, and she'd come back, all excited. I'd be crying like, meh. and she'd come in, all big smile on her face, and she'd play the video from the show. She's singing like Crimson and Clover, like down, out, down, out, down, out. And so like I just, and her record collection is like there's a whole room just full of records and milk crates, and just being around it. And I got a picture of me like when I was knee-high to a beanstalk tall, and sitting next to the first guitar that I learned on in high school. And I taught myself how to play it. I can't really read music too well, but I can read it.
Play more by ear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
If I can hear it, I can play it.
Yeah, he's really good at picking up on stuff.
What made you move to LA?
Music, yeah. Actually, I was in a band with Morgan Taylor Reed, MTR, producer. And we were in a band. He was a couple grades below me. I lived in his family's house. I rented a room for a couple years, and I remember I would get out. I'd go to work at the mortgage company. I started working at a mortgage company really young, 18, and so I'd get home just in time for him to get home. But I'd have the amps all warmed up and everything, and then so we'd be like rehearsing. And like the junior high we lived right next to, the kids would be leaving, and then we'd have kids like gathering around.
Yeah.
And it was exciting. It was we sounded good, for being 15 and 17.
You're so modest too.
And so yeah, we decided that was like our mission, and we were gonna do it, and moved to LA and just
packed your bags.
That's
Packed
not
our
really
bags and never looked back. Yeah.
The traditional story for in the music industry, like, oh, I worked in the mortgage.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, I did all kinds of jobs, construction, mortgage. Yeah.
I think the traditional thing has changed
shop.
so much. Like, no longer do you move here, become a waiter, and then all of a sudden you're George Clooney. It's like,
I feel like that's people's idea, though. It's this
crazy.
messed
Like,
up
you
thing
think,
where
they think that's
that
the only
you're
way.
discovered or found after 15 minutes of being out
no,
here,
it takes a
when
lot
you
of
don't
work.
realize that
Yeah.
people have worked for this their entire
Years.
lives.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very rare
Yeah.
these days that you just win the lottery.
yeah,
Like,
it's the decade-long
really hard
overnight
work.
success. You know
And
what I mean?
the people who do win the lottery, like the Snookies, and they get 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
they can maybe turn it into longer if they're smart
they
and
work hard, yeah.
entrepreneurial. But
Yeah.
it's very difficult.
I agree 100. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Also have to thank my mom for that. She was more on the folk and like classical end of things. So when I turned I think it was 10 or 11 and I discovered Nirvana, it like broke her heart. But it sent me in a good direction, and I actually picked up the bass originally, and then kind of a couple years later I decided
Add more strings.
switch to guitar. It's a little bit
I
more
love her.
interesting, and yeah, and I also moved out here specifically for music. So yeah, I mean it's been a long life, and music has always been a part of it,
Yeah. So I know you guys were in an Omission.
Yeah.
And then how did it was Terra Incognita?
Yeah,
band
and it's
name?
kind of 1 degree of separation too, because he was working with Morgan before Omission. They came out here together, and then we rediscovered that relationship, brought him in at some point when we were working on Terra Incognita. We did one record that ended up becoming Born to Run, which became our title single. Morgan helped us find the sound that we were kind of searching for, and trying to blend all of the worlds that are our various influences together to create what you hear now as 7Lions. And so we did a little bit of work as Terra Incognita, morphed in with Morgan and our good friend Red One, and sort of really nailed down what it was to be a lion and create our particular sound over that process.
And I know you guys have a very personal story as to why you came up with the name 7Lions. So
Yeah, I mean, there's only 3 of us here now, so people will be like, why is it 7? I don't get it. Morgan, Dan, Tony, shout out to them. They're at the house right now, probably making mimosas. But yeah, there is 6 of us, and part of it was, something when we were all going through a lot during the inception of this band. Something that he always told me that always resonated in my head was that we're kings amongst men. Don't worry about this. We're just kings amongst men. And so the royalty thing sort of stuck for me. Like, I wanted a way of not being braggadocio and like, throwing it in people's face, but something about, that King of the Jungle kind of vibe. And only being 6 of us, but he lost his brother during the culmination of our band to muscular dystrophy. And so it was a really cool twist on the ability to pay homage to, all of our struggles, but in a sense also make his brother who passed an honorary lion.
I think that's amazing. Yeah, that's really cool. So how did you guys get linked up with Red One? I mean, he's this world-renowned producer, has 2 Grammys.
Red One.
With Lady Gaga, J-Lo, everyone.
He's an amazing dude, man. It's crazy because before we ever got into a formal relationship, we just kind of vibed, some mutual friends that introduced us. We were Twitter homies, I guess you can call it, and sending back and forth inspiration. He's talking about this record, I'm talking about this record. And we go back and forth, and I actually sent him some of my solo stuff, and he remixed it, and I was, wow, Red One's like remixing my records. This is crazy. And then got a chance to meet him and showed him Terra Incognita. And he was like, and he's a rocker, like he used to play guitar in a band and like had long hair and was like doing the band thing,
The guy actually still has some chops.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's got to, yeah.
And I walk in and he's playing the chord progressions for the song that, most producers who you meet, especially at that caliber, like, oh, what song is it again? Like, okay, no, can you play it for me? Did you bring it? Yo, you don't have it? Like, they didn't listen to it even. But this, I walk in and he's like singing it and he's got it on the guitar and just fingering it and like, wow, what's up? And the excitement level and obviously the music competency that this guy has, it was incredible and overwhelming. Like, he got excited about the record and then started talking about, the dynamics of the band as if he was in the band, so to speak. So for me, it was like a no-brainer. At the end of the conversation, he's like, how can I help you? What do you want to do? How do you see me, helping you guys do what you do? And so we just decided to partner up on the project, and it's been incredible.
Yeah, and like you said, I feel like a lot of producers of that caliber, they're just they're focused on making money or like making a hit.
Yeah, and that's a lot.
But he's a mentor to you guys.
Exactly. Yeah. He's just one of those people that's like warm and open and will talk about music for like an hour as if, like just excited about not even your record, a record, something he heard or a sound and like, hold on, wait, let's turn that into a song, and just, you know what I mean? And I feel like there's not a lot of people that get excited like it was the first song that they did in their career every time they do a record. And I think that Red One does,
Yeah. When you guys are in the studio, how do you know that it's going to be a good song? Like, I know you guys have 5 songs on the Born to Run EP, but were there more songs that like you didn't feel were good enough to make the EP, or?
Well, we have some that are left over, like Lose Your Mind and a couple other records that I think were strong enough, but we had to pull the plug and like, okay, these are the 5 songs that we're going to run with first. We'll keep the other ones because I think, a good song is a good song no matter what project it ends up on, and we play them all live. Anyway, we can kind of gauge audience reactions and sort of A&R our own work through that process with our fans, and then eventually we'll put out, we'll probably have to sit down and kill some proverbial babies and pick which records that we like, the most over some others.
Luckily,
but,
we have a motto: all killers, no fillers.
Yeah, exactly.
Waste too much time recording it if it's not going to be a hit.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things that you really appreciate as a fan, is wanting to listen to every single song on an album, not just like the 3 singles. So,
exactly.
I really appreciate that. You guys also have a very interesting sound. It's kind of like a hybrid between classical rock, electronica, and then you throw some hip hop in there. Did you guys have an idea of what sound you guys wanted to have when you originally came together?
We were just jamming.
Yeah, I think the sound developed pretty organically. We all have like many different influences, and our influences come from all over the musical
works.
I mean, everything from like classical to like classic rock to straight ahead rock to pop rock to electronic. I mean, you name it, and there's probably somebody in the group that loves it.
Yeah.
And so developing the sound, it was just kind of like getting the right people collected, like the 6 of us, and somehow just morphed into something that was really cool.
Yeah.
And it's like rehearsals. We jam out and just try different things. And like, we played a ton of shows as Terra Incognita where, they had records that they just opened up a spot for me to fit in and kind of alter the chorus so that I can be on top of it, and kind of we'd feel which records that worked on, which records that didn't work so much. And then, after linking up with Morgan, his influences, pop, electronic, and synth, and added pieces that were like, wow, this, we didn't know even something was missing, but now we've got this, and it really felt like we formed like Voltron when all 6 of us got together,
It feels complete. For the dog outside. He wishes he was in here.
I know,
with you
we wish
guys.
he was in here too.
So I know you mentioned Nirvana was one of the bands that you liked growing up. What are some of the other bands that you all listen to?
So yeah, Nirvana. I actually was a really, really big Jimi Hendrix fan as well. Doors, that era of classic rock. Man, I listen to everything.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for like the good hair bands of the 80s. Aerosmith, the Bon Jovi.
Me not so
that
much.
kind of stuff.
I didn't know there were good hair
Yeah,
bands.
no, I mean there are, but no, I mean I listen to like the same era, the Doors, the the Monkees, the Who, Peter, Paul, and Mary. But then
The
Beatles.
Monkees. Can you say that they're a real?
I know, yeah.
kind of.
Yeah. Spinal Tap.
This thing goes up to 11.
Yeah.
To 11 knob.
Don't forget the Beatles.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
crazy songwriters. You know?
Yeah. But then also I was up on the newer, like the 90s. I was big
Yeah.
on the 90s music, like Foo Fighters and Nirvana and I'd say Chris Cornell, Soundgarden. When that whole era came out, I was like Pearl Jam.
Shout out to Chris.
Stone Temple Pilots, all that good stuff.
Totally.
And even to modern day stuff like Imagine Dragons. I'm pretty big on stuff like that.
Yeah, there's some really cool music happening these days.
If it's got melody, good beat, something your heart can beat to, and like you can move to it, like I pretty much dig it. Like I like old stuff too, like like Mac Dre, Doobie,
Exactly.
Nicotina,
Yeah.
from the Bay.
For me, I think my dad had me on a strict diet of like Miami Vice soundtrack stuff. So it was a lot of Phil Collins, Police, Sting, moving on up into like NWA and getting really into Biggie and Pac and that whole movement. But then as my horizon started expanding, everything from Manu Chao to like Gypsy Kings to I'm one of the people, I'm a little bit all over the place. You know what I mean?
Just because you guys have such an original sound, I know you guys kind of get compared to Linkin Park a little bit because they have the rap element in there. What band do you think that you guys are most like?
I mean, I think it's one of those things where with the iPod generation that we are now, where once upon a time you had to separate things into genre just to make sense out of it. And I think now where you've got, a device where I can have it on shuffle and it can go from Deepak Chopra to Miley Cyrus, and then to 2 Chainz, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's one of those things where now, like, obviously Linkin Park paved the way. Shout out to Mike, Shinoda, Chester, all the homies. And they really made a lane for what you hear, what we do. But I mean, from Aerosmith to Run DMC to 311 to Incubus to a lot of those guys that were kind of experimenting with what worked and found their fans, found their audience. We're kind of doing the same thing. And I don't think there's any one group that, sounds exactly like us. I think we sort of have taken pieces from all of them and hopefully carving out our own lane,
Mm-hmm. So I know on the Born to Run EP, there are a lot of inspirational songs. So what do you think the writing process is like? Like, take us through that, I guess.
I think during the time for that EP, there was a lot of world, issues. There was a lot of revolution and things, kind of happening economic-wise.
Because you were writing it around 2011?
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. And so I think a lot of that kind of just, we didn't even really, because we write more autobiographical. It's, we're not necessarily writing fictitious
right from
stories.
experience.
Yeah.
We're writing from things in our life and things that affect us, whether it be, heartache that we turn into, sort of a global message or just something, social that we come across. I think it was just more free thought, and we just kind of went in there, and depending on the chord progressions and the melodies, what they
it would
evoke,
set the tone, evoke a certain emotion, and then you start thinking about something. And it's not like we're like making up stories, trying to write fables here. It's like we write about things that pertain to us, that are real to us, and hopefully we can when the listener that hears it can like
make their own story.
Put apply that to their own personal experiences.
Because like Born to Run, you figure we were just. Everybody, fighting everything from, just trying to survive and be a musician, to our careers, to our families, to everything. And, then we get a phone call from a friend of ours that ran an ultra marathon, with another young girl who was a cancer survivor who had one leg, and they ran this in response to them, and they listened to the record, and that was like, sort of an anthem for them. And that wasn't necessarily geared at all towards what we incepted for the record when we just were vibing out. We were born to run, Sky Turns Black, don't matter. Like, it was just stuff that was coming out of us. But the beautiful thing about music is people can interpret it and take what they want from it and create a whole new life for that record.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really the interpretations and people's, like, reactions to the music that makes being a musician, like, so amazing.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So when you guys are in the studio, are all 6 of you there, or is it kind of like a collaborative effort where Morgan starts something and
we kind of like but usually it's Morgan starting with something, a shell or something, and
because he has the writing and producing background.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
He's got the studio that we use for the entire EP, and so we just kind of would vibe with him, and then Tony track live drums, Will come in, lay guitar, Dan come in and lay bass and kind of vibe and discuss, what do you think about that? Nah, maybe not the moving bass line or this, that, and the other. And sort of piece it together, we listen to it, and, and then get the red one.
Stamp of approval.
Seal of approval, and he may change a chord progression, based on his substantial knowledge of music of all genres. We respect his mentorship, above all. And so we can play him a record, he'll smash. He's like, this one just needs to be mixed, that's it. Or he may be like, he'll look at me and go like, my brother, I don't know about the chorus. You know what I mean? Like, and we're just like,
And then you get into rewrites.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a process. It's a whole process, and every song is different. We do try to keep it as collaborative as possible.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a gift to have. Not a lot of people are in our position to where, we're still pretty much independent, but we have the access to some of the most amazing, people in music to bounce ideas off or just use that as a quality control filter,
Yeah. So you guys started out as a live band.
Mm-hmm.
Do you prefer performing or being in studio?
I'd probably say live.
Yeah, live for sure. It's like breathing. Yeah.
Yeah, the studio is fun too, though. Like, it's really cool going through the process, like taking an idea from just a piano part or a guitar part or a melody or just like a line of lyrics, and like seeing it through all the way to like the final product.
Yeah.
But there's really nothing like being on stage.
Yeah, like when the curtains close and it's like you look around, you look around and you feel like a football team about to go, out onto the field, and you look around and you guys ready? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you open it up and people are like, it's there's just this energy transfer. It's where people are waiting for something, they don't even know what it is if they've never seen you, and then the people that that are your fans, like they know exactly what they're looking for. And you give that to them, and you surprise other people, and these faces, and people singing lyrics, and there's just an energy exchange, you know what I mean, when it comes from live. And I could go zone out and dance over here while he's doing his thing, and Will's and guitar, you know what I mean, and go jump on the drum stands, and it's just it just becomes like a party, a seance,
Basically, Prophet saying he likes to wreck the stage.
Yeah, exactly. And unplug people, like super funny Will solo, unplug the guitar, and he's air guitaring, and then
But that's half of it is the performance.
Of
like
course.
You want to enjoy it as a fan.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So I know you guys have played so many shows. Are there ever any nerves at this point?
Maybe I get a wave of nerves maybe like 2 weeks before a show.
2 weeks
that's
before
crazy.
a show?
Yeah, it's weird. I'll think about it. I'll be like, "Ooh, good." Oh, it's okay. We got this. And then, especially the day of the show, I'm ready. Yeah. I would say I get more nervous in front of less people. So bring them on. The more people, the better.
Yeah.
Like if there's like 6 people, it's like, ooh, we better do a good job.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
a stadium show,
If
you'd
you
be like,
mess up,
Yeah,
oh,
stadium.
God,
Yeah, they start to blend. Like thousands of people just become a sea of colors.
I'm ready for that. I want to see that.
But I still think I'm a ball of nerves during a show because I'm like, okay, what's up with that lighting? Like, is that going to be okay? Like thinking about everything. Like, there's only 2 monitors. All right, it's going to be a problem. And okay, does our this have enough battery? Do we bring enough DIs or sort of worry wart and like stomach gets knotted and then I hit the stage and I forget about it.
Are you a perfectionist?
Kind of, kind of OCD a little bit.
I think it runs in the group actually, and I'm like the same way. So like any nerves are logistic nerves, and once the logistics are taken care of and we're actually ready to play, it's like it's
because it's never a matter of the talent. It's for me, it's usually just are the proper tools here for us to do what we do and make sure that you got to trust the sound man a lot, because we've got a lot of instruments, a lot of pieces, and the beautiful thing about this gumbo is the direct ingredients. You know what I mean? The right amount of paprika. So it's like, and that sound man kind of has control over what the audience perceives as your sound if they're hearing it for the first time. If it's a fan that's seen a bunch of shows, they kind of know. But like, you're at the mercy of the venue.
Your metaphors are amazing.
Oh, thank you. Paprika, yes. I love paprika.
This gumbo.
And gumbo. I'm Creole, so
Yeah. You guys have played at countless venues across the country and some really amazing venues in LA. What do you think is your favorite place to play thus far?
I mean, it's a tough call. I mean, our home is like the Viper. I mean,
Viper Room's been really good to us.
The Roxy's really cool. It's. I mean, we've been
That's
blessed.
a staple in LA.
We live in LA, so it's like, and never for once do I take it for granted because I'm not even from here. That we've touched, some of the same stages that some of our icons have touched. So, I mean, anything on the Strip that we've played is a blessing in itself. I think there was one place that stood out to me, and it wasn't a full band show. It was the Wiltern, when it was just him with an acoustic and me opening for Chris Cornell, and the Wiltern, like, I'd never been so nervous in my life for some reason. Like, my stomach was like...
I gotta say, I was nervous that day, too.
That's a smaller venue.
Just because the way it looked.
Really?
It was like 2,800 people.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of people there.
It was packed.
Yeah.
And, but it was just the way that the venue felt like a Roman
like Brad
Coliseum,
Pitt sitting in the front row.
Yeah, that was bizarre for me.
I'm getting a note from the producer in the back. You have to raise your chair.
I know, like okay.
There's like a little.
I felt like there's a gas leak in there. Like, Jesus. I know. I was like.
Yeah. So your fans are named lion heads. Who came up with that?
That'd probably be, I think, me. I think I was just trying to search around for something that like made sense, to give them ownership of, because we're here because of them. So we wanted to make sure that they feel included in everything that we do. They are the lion heads that represent us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's the coolest story that you've heard from a fan about like your music?
Well, there's this one kid recently that I've he started blowing up the email, and he's from Taiwan. And,
really?
Yeah, William. He's got Paul on his email, but I think his name is William, which I don't know how that works. But he drew us in a hand sketch, each one of us, and I think he's from a small, very rural part of Taiwan, and communicates in broken English, and was just saying how our music changed his life, and he gets up, he's excited, and things that may not have been so great are better now because he's got this sort of soundtrack of anthemic belief based on the records, But I think that's just one of so many. I mean, we've heard, there's some cancer survivors that we give a shout out to, a lot of young kids who sort of, especially with the Born to Run record, sort of look at that and and fight through whatever it is that they're going through. But I think William from Taiwan, he's get 200 emails literally, and he's sending us all a gift from Taiwan, like a little, something he made, like a little bracelet. And I sent him a
That's
package.
expensive postage.
Yeah, it is.
He must really like you.
I sent him a package, and he went through the roof. He's like, "Oh my God, I have CD, I have shirt, and just like lost it on email, and like looked like he smashed the keyboard or something. I couldn't tell what was happening, but he was excited. So, and that's really why we're here. You know what I mean?
And Born to Run, the single, has gotten so much play. It was the Chicago Bulls theme song. It was featured in NHL, NFL.
LA Kings, what
It's-
LA Cup.
Yeah. I listened
French
to it.
Open.
I didn't realize. I started singing along because I was like, oh, this is the WWE Smackdown theme song. Yeah.
Nice.
So, like, it's all over the place.
We've been
and
blessed for sure.
millions of people have heard
Yeah.
it because of these venues.
Very true.
So are you guys, like, did you guys flip out when you first found out that it was going to be featured in this capacity?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the first couple of them we started to be like, whoa, that's dope. Like, for me, it really came like Baltimore Ravens versus the Niners. I'm
Yeah, I
a
remember
Niners
that.
fan.
It was on Thanksgiving.
And I got a phone
on my
call.
birthday.
Yeah, and I got a phone call on Thanksgiving, and like I don't even have service up where my grandparents live. And it's like, wow, what you do? You're on. I'm like, I changed the channel because I was walking to the kitchen or something, and I come back and it's on. I'm like, no way! And I had no idea that it was even up for the running for something like that. And for me, that was just, I think we lost that game, but
It was still great.
it was just great
Still
because I
pretty
was just
awesome,
sitting
yeah.
there and it was Thanksgiving and I
Yeah.
hadn't seen my grandparents in a long time and I had something to be like, look, this is, what your grandson does, and so for me that was like the snowball effect into all the other blessings that we had.
I think for a bunch of us, actually, a lot of football fans in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Which came first? Was it hearing your song on a game or on the radio?
I think radio. I think we did.
Okay.
I think we were doing some definite radio runs. I think 98.7 may have played us the first time that I heard it in the car, and that was definitely
It was pretty
bonkers.
awesome.
What is the first
Had
thing you do
everybody
after
tune
you
in.
hear your song on the radio? Like,
Jump around.
You just try to hit rewind on your brain, like, hold on, I want to go back to that moment. Hold on, I want to go back to that, like Vine, and kind of just redo
relive it.
Yeah, because it's like you don't know who to call. You're like, should I call? I feel like I should call somebody.
I had
I'm
everyone.
gonna call my
I
ex-girlfriend
called
and be
everyone
like,
before. I was
told
like,
you
yo.
I was gonna be on the radio, girl. You know what I'm saying? Now you done messed up. Oh, that's right. Okay, no, I'm not taking you back. But yeah, it's just, I mean, it's just elation, like just, it's crazy. You want to be like, we're not always all together when that happens, so you want to be like, dude, we should totally like get together and like try to get it played again while we're in the same room and dance or something. Like you don't know what to do,
But then it'd just be contrived.
Yeah, I know, and then it wouldn't be natural, and then just pretend like, you hear that? I don't know.
But it's such a different feeling from like hearing your song in studio or
Yeah.
hearing it on a CD to hearing it on the radio or on TV.
Well, because so many thousands or millions of people are listening with you. And for me, it's like sort of existential, I guess. So that collective consciousness of everybody sort of doing something while they're listening to your music, and like that verse, somebody's listening to that lyric and going like, I wonder what seems like lightning speeds, I wonder what that means. You know what I mean? You figure there's somebody out there, some kind of energy, somebody feeling some kind of way about something that you've put your blood, sweat, and tears into, and that's the whole reason why we do it. So it makes it an amazing, moment.
Is that the goal for your music, to influence others?
I think touch as many people as we can. I mean, I don't think we necessarily are trying to get this one message out.
Yeah.
But just touch people, you know?
Yeah.
Not in an inappropriate way.
Yes, yeah, of course. Yes. Not in an inappropriate. But like, I mean, for us, I think, we all look up to bands like U2, who are these global bands who can say something, mean something for themselves, but, take Sunday Bloody Sunday or whatever kind of record, which we did do a cover of, by the way. You can check it out on YouTube. And you just, you communicate whatever it is you want to communicate, and people from all walks of life can relate. And I think that's the one thing about our music is that I don't care if you even understand English or not, you're going to pull a one word that and the melody and be able to feel some kind of, way about that. You know what I mean? And that's important.
Or even if it means the same thing to everybody, what it means to each of us, or those feelings may be different, but that's the cool thing about music or anything really subjective or artistic, is that you can interpret it the way you want and create your own meaning around it.
Yeah. Cool. So I know before you got involved in music, you were doing graphic artist stuff, and you were a graffiti artist, and now you're involved with, I'm going to mispronounce it, Teruo?
Yeah, Teruo Artistry.
Okay.
Yeah,
So tell us a little bit about that.
Clothing company. I actually moved out here with Deep Waters, who was a producer for all of my solo material. And in college, he had a clothing company that was for him and his brother and their grandfather, who was a painter during World War II. And he was put in internment camps and kind of lost everything, came out, became successful again. So they used that as a mantra to sort of form this company in college. And when I met them, it was kind of dormant, and they were trying to figure out what next to do. And the lifestyle of being an artist, him being a producer, me being an MC, and that whole lifestyle movement of apparel culture kind of fell all into line during the same time that we were trying to resurrect it. And moving to LA kind of even solidified that more, so we decided to get serious about it. And we got an office, and we started staffing, got some capital, and really started to make that, because I'm a big fashionista. I love apparel almost as much as I love music. And for me, they're almost synonymous with the lifestyle. So being able to express myself musically and, textile-wise is an incredible feeling, and also paying homage to yet another person, in my life that has shown that you can come from any walk of life and make a name for yourself if you work hard enough, and so I think that's terroir artistry is by any dreams necessary, always creating, and sort of envelops that entire, that sort of spirit,
Do you have any hand in designing your merch for 7Lions?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What have you done?
Well, both me and Tim collaborated. Tim is the creative art director for the clothing line. Collaborated on this lion piece. I wanted something that kind of was almost like that old English royal crest kind of feeling. And so we created the logo for that together. And I'm a graphic head, so like anything I see from, old Nike posters to Fulmer posters, something I'll try to figure out, okay, how can I make something cool, that represents, we did the Taking Over logo, which was like a mashup of Ice Cube's Lynch Mob records, and kind of pieced some ideas from that to create this sort of meme for that record. And so, always creating. You can never turn this off when you're as addicted as we are to one of these things. We don't have any time for anything else other than music, art, and fashion. Video games a little bit, I think. Every once in a while, a little Xbox.
Well, cool. So I want to know, what advice do you guys each have for up-and-coming artists?
Oh, man. Whatever it is that you feel like you want to do, just do it day in and day out. Keep working, and
10,000 hours.
Don't despair. Music and art is like super subjective, as we've been saying. Somebody may hate it. Don't worry about that one person that hates it. Worry about the 10 that love it, and just keep doing what you want to do, and you'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, keep your eye on your goals, and don't give up. Pretty much, because it's taken a while for us to. It may seem like things happen overnight, but it's not really like that. So it's like, as long as you stay focused and keep that drive, you can definitely achieve things for sure.
For me, I think it's one of the most powerful times in music and art in general right now, is because the development and sort of progress of platforms like YouTube and Facebook. Now you look at Lorde, who's 16 or whatever, and got her record out virally before anybody ever heard it, or you have a chance to immediately play something, write something, spoken word, act it out, do whatever it is you want, upload it in a matter of seconds, and communicate your message to the world. And before, there was gateways. A&Rs were the gatekeepers, and you kind of had to have a demo together, pitch it, hope they liked it, maybe they'll give you a shot. Now you almost don't need anybody. There are no layers. The major labels sort of quarterback a little bit of what you're doing already, and try to figure out how to figure that out. So for me, it's like the most important is to cross-train now, become a little bit of a graphic designer, become a little bit of a marketer, become a little bit of your own PR, learn how to work a camera. Your office is a tribute to the sort of evolution of the entertainment industry in general based on technology. So like, for a kid who doesn't know how, and this mountain looks too big to climb, put one foot in front of the other and just really focus on your craft. That 10,000 hour thing is no joke. Like, really just hone in on that, but make sure you pay attention to almost every aspect of the game, from social media to marketing to, you know, peer-to-peer street work, and try to, you know, become a jack of all trades if you can.
We're in that day and age where now there are more celebrities than ever, more musicians, more artists than ever. So you really do have to be your own promoter.
Exactly.
In that
Because
sense.
somebody's always willing to work harder than you. So the moment you decide, you know, that's enough or something, there's somebody out there who's in their garage making the next, you know, Microsoft, or, you know, in their living room doing the next Justin Bieber. Like, there's always somebody out of the millions of us, you know, billions of us there are, that want to do this craft. There's somebody out there working to take your spot, so make sure that you stay focused. You know?
Yeah. That's good advice.
Yep, for sure.
Church.
Deep. So what is the ultimate goal as a band? Like, what do you guys want to achieve in the future?
World domination.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
Owning Chick-fil-A, I think.
Make it open on Sundays,
exactly.
please.
Basically world
VMA,
tour.
like any awards that you guys want? Grammy.
Grammys, world tour.
I think Grammy. I think, you know, to sort of pay back. I mean, just to bring a Grammy home would just be crazy. To, you know,
Be great.
Give it to Red One, give it to our parents and everybody who's taken a chance on us and sort of believed in, because our music is a challenge in that the first time you hear it, you don't know what to think. You either love it or you like kind of. So we're pushing a product that sort of sometimes may not make all the sense in the world. So everybody who is our fan, who's helped us down the way, has taken a chance. And so just anything that we could do to sort of reward those people that have, you know, stuck by us for so long.
Yeah. What's your, you just said it, but what's your acceptance speech like? I want to hear. I'm putting you on the spot.
The Chick-fil-A. Well, I'd probably have to, no, I don't know. That's a good one. I'm never at a loss for words either. It'd probably be, I mean, for me, I'm a little bit, you know, of a spiritual cat, so I'd probably be thanking God that I got this far to begin with. You know what I mean? Just surviving some of the obstacles that we've all been through. You never think that you're gonna get. It always seems like it's a cartoon or a movie for somebody else's life. You know, when you talk about even the level of success that we've had already. You know, especially as a kid looking up, like coming from where I'm from, looking at, you know, people on MTV, and like you're like, there's no way for me. You know, from the hood that I'm from, like, no way. There's no way I can have that, you know, cool of an outfit and have people that love me and love my music or would even take the time to listen. So the fact that we have a culmination of international fans, and there's somebody in a country that I've never been singing our songs, for me, it's like, you know, we've already gotten a Grammy, so to speak. You know what I mean? So, but yeah.
Cool. So this is our section, the shameless plug section, where you guys are able to promote whatever, from your new single to clothing line, everything.
Taking Over is our new single. About to drop the video. I think you've mentioned something earlier where you're going to see it come up. And I'm really excited about it. I think this is probably the best video we've ever done.
Cool.
It's really fun, really exciting.
How long did it take to film the video?
That's a tricky question, too. We shot it once and then realized we wanted to go a different direction.
Okay.
So that wasn't a complete production. And then we decided we wanted to go a different direction. And so I think maybe 4 days total.
Okay.
If you group them up, both. You know, we work with Talkboy TV on this one.
Yeah.
Shout out to them, Talkboy TV. They did a great job. It looks amazing. And then we're finishing the EP into a deluxe version. So we're getting in the studio. We've been in the studio a little bit, and we're going to stretch it out another 5-6 records.
So it'll be a full album.
Yeah,
Full album, yeah.
You know what I mean? Give the fans some more sauce.
Yeah.
Cool.
For their gumbo.
More gumbo. So where can people find you? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook?
7lionsmusic.com, at 7lions for Twitter as well as Instagram. And you can find me at the Grove, most likely in the farmer's market, at the Brazilian spot where you can get the meat on the skewers. I'll be right there.
People are going to come stalk you there.
Yeah, I know. Trust. I think there's already a couple people that do.
iTunes, Spotify, Pandora. We got a Pandora station.
Yeah, check us out. And the thing is, share it, because it's one of those things, like I said, it's a type of music that's a little bit different, and I think it's got something for everybody. So if you love it, like I know you will, spread the word, because that's how this thing, the intranets work.
Oh, cool.
You know?
Any final thoughts?
I think Prophet just put it very eloquently.
No, well, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, well, for Prophet, Forrest, Will, for myself, make sure to check out Chatting with Cathy on iTunes. Follow AfterBuzz TV on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV, and you can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelly. So until next time, we'll see you then.
Shout out to Tony, Dan, Morgan. What up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the rest of the band.
The rest of the band.
They don't matter.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
And you're gonna give us cue?
Oh. Buzz you later.
Buzz you later.
She did it.
Views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.